Recently, the sky turned bright red in a city in China. Is this a sign of the last days? I don't know if it is, even though the scriptures do say that there'll be signs in the heavens. But it sure scared a lot of people into thinking that it was the end of the world. And in one sense, I don't blame them for being scared. When every day the sky is a beautiful blue and it suddenly turns blood red, it must be scary. The Bible does say that the moon will be turned into blood in the last days. We've seen that happen in recent years.
Well, keep your eyes to the skies tomorrow night. A total lunar eclipse will turn the moon red.
These things usually do have some sort of scientific explanation.
Instead of going totally dark, the Earth is surrounded by a brilliant red halo. It's actually the refraction of every sunrise and sunset on the face of the Earth now shining onto the moon. And that's why the moon turns blood red at totality.
Several studies have been conducted on this historic occurrence in an attempt to determine what caused it. One of the causes may be a significant geomagnetic storm, according to Live Science.
But that doesn't change the fact that they are biblical signs of the end of the age. There are many signs to look for that tell us we're living in the closing hours of time, just before the second coming of Jesus Christ. Here are some of them. There'll be a general lawlessness, occult interest, hatred for those that do good. Russia will muster forces to attack Israel. Jerusalem will be in great contention, and nation will rise against nation, and mockers would mock any thought of the coming of Christ. And of course, the gospel would continue to be preached to the ends of the earth. Watch a tiny part of that prophecy being fulfilled right here. Have you ever heard the gospel?
So, we are living in the end times.
There would be an increase in deception. False Christ will deceive many. Wars and rumors of wars. Nation against nation and kingdom against kingdom. Famines. Pestilences, earthquakes, Christian persecution, apostasy, false prophets, and lawlessness, causing the love of many to grow cold. Jesus said all of these signs would come like birth pains. Jesus was likening last days events to a woman in labor. As the labor progresses, the pains increase in both frequency and intensity until the baby finally comes. As we get closer to Jesus' return, all the signs he gave us as a sign of his coming and the end of the age will become more frequent and more intense. All of these signs are manifesting around the world in our time. Jesus, speaking to his disciples about the signs of his coming and the end of the age, declares this in Matthew 24:12. And because lawlessness will be increased, the love of many will grow cold. The Bible tells us lawlessness is the violation of God's commandments, as we read in 1 John 3:4. Whoever commits sin also commits lawlessness, and sin is lawlessness. Sin will be so rampant and so commonplace in the last days that the love people once had for one another, for many, will be non-existent. In this prophecy, Jesus Christ is describing an ongoing breakdown in the relationship with God. And since people's love for God is waning, it will be evident in the way people treat one another as well. A symptom may be that the love toward other people is decreasing, but the real cause is that the relationship with God is cooling off. This is what we are witnessing in our world today.
The scenes you're watching are from downtown Chicago last night, where a massive group of teens took over the streets. And you can see them climbing on city buses. It's a total chaos. And it's making residents terrified to even go outside. On a nightly basis, the city of Lightfoot, as in Lori Lightfoot, is devolving further into lawlessness. She still hasn't addressed the heinous attack on 23-year-old Dakota Early, who last Friday night was ambushed, shot 3 times in the head and back, and left for dead in the street in an upscale neighborhood called Lincoln Park. After multiple surgeries, he's still clinging to life. 0 suspects are in custody. Now, last night, the bloodshed continued. 3 young children were shot on the south side, 2 boys, ages 6 and 11. Then, about a mile and a half away, a 3-year-old girl. This is tragically, though, nothing new. At least 73 people have been shot since last Friday in Chicago. At least 14 on Wednesday, 21 on Tuesday, 14 on Monday, and 24 over the weekend. And then on a national level, the Democrats are similarly disconnected from reality. Tonight, many of you are wondering, what happened to the America you love? Everything Biden touches goes bad, everything. Our country is essentially leaderless on 5 major issues: the border, Inflation, of course, that includes soaring energy and food costs, and the China threat. On each issue, the administration has either done nothing or when it has done something, it's just made things worse.
I believe God has raised up Joe Biden for such a time as this. I believe God is using Joe Biden as judgment on the United States of America. Since Biden took office, every kind of evil has run amok. God will use anyone he chooses to fulfill his purpose. And I believe that purpose for Joe Biden is the destruction of America.
Yet another mass shooting in this country, which authorities say may have been fueled by hate. A gunman opening fire at a supermarket in Buffalo, New York, killing 10 people.
Police say the 18-year-old suspect live streamed the carnage on a helmet camera for at least 2 minutes as he mowed down shoppers and employees, all while wearing body armor.
You can see there is yellow tape behind me surrounding that parking lot, surrounding the grocery store, where authorities say the gunman arrived here heavily armed and wearing tactical gear, taking the lives of 10 people who were just going about their day at the supermarket. Police say the gunman was motivated by hate.
This morning, a community in shock in Buffalo, New York.
When I first saw him shooting, he shot a woman, he shot a deacon, he shot another woman, and then he went in the store and started shooting again.
10 people shot dead and 3 more injured after a gunman opened fire at a Tops-friendly supermarket in a predominantly black neighborhood.
This is the worst nightmare that any community can face.
One's gun secure. One suspect is in custody.
The suspect, identified as 18-year-old Peyton Gendron, has been arraigned on 1
Oh my God, unbelievable.
count of first-degree murder and held without bail. Authorities say he drove there from 200 miles away and live-streamed the attack that is now being investigated as a hate crime.
This was pure evil. It was straight up racially motivated hate crime from somebody outside our community.
Police say around 2:30 Saturday afternoon, the suspect wearing body armor and a tactical helmet first fired at 4 people in the parking lot, killing 3.
We're going to need some officers inside the Tops because we have numerous bodies.